Okay, thank you, Barnabas. It's a little bit strange to give a presentation this way, but I hope it will work out. Let's see. So you can now see my presentation, I hope. Yeah, so currently, yeah, I'm going to talk about NAP. Helene already told some positive things about it, and NAP is the framework that I use or that we use to develop creative applications. Currently, I work at Drift as well, and Drift completely embraced NAP as their platform to make all of their software. So I'm gonna talk about me, talk about NAP, and talk about some of the projects that we do. And I'm gonna put you on mute because I hear like feedback on my headphones. Just 1 second. So if there's anything, yeah, just type a message in the chat, okay? So yeah, this is one of our most recent applications that I will tell about shortly. But first, I really want to emphasize that I'm not here to sell you anything, and you don't have to buy anything. Like a lot of times when I talk about our framework that we use, full of with much enthusiasm, and then people go like, "Oh, but can it do this? Can it do that?" And why don't you use Touch Designer or Unity? And I really don't care about this discussion. I care about technology. I care about the framework that we use, the philosophy behind it, and it's up to you to use it or to get interested. In the end of the road, I don't really care, but everyone is welcome to join. So that's something I really want to emphasize. So yeah, this is me, a younger version of me in the beginning of the 2000s. This is what really got me into technology, actually. I was a DJ and I organized parties. But what really bothered me was the electronic music performance. It was really getting dumbed down. So people were just staring at laptop screens, and you would go out, and then the music was good, but you see a guy behind the laptop. So I wanted to create software that enabled me to do an electronic music performance with my own body. And I ended up using the Wii remotes. And this allowed me to be on the stage and give a performance with my body. And this also got me actually interested in technology and also into programming. Just to bridge the gap a bit between the pure technology side and the human side. After that, I started getting a real job and made a lot of museum installations that also have this connection with the human body, which needs to translate into a certain digital experience or a game or whatever. So I did that for a couple of years. Then I became a freelance developer, which is like a little bit of a dark few years in my career, because I actually think virtual reality is kind of a dystopian future. But luckily, I met Koen Clusters, who was working on NAP, an open source platform to control huge installations. And he said, "Hey, Tim, I really like your work. Would you like to join us? And together we can make beautiful stuff." This was also the time that we started working together with Drift, who had like really interesting projects that had to do with emotion, expression, a lot of like really complicated hardware, and they were looking for tools to help them realize some amazing projects. So yeah, and recently I started, I ended working at NAP Labs, but I'm hired by Drift as a lead software engineer. But I still work at NAP Labs, only we switched. Like NAP Labs, we don't do commercial projects anymore. So we switched to being a commercial entity, to being a foundation that is purely focused on the open source development of our framework. And then Drift, Drift, I can use it to pay my rent. And make amazing projects as well. So the work that we do at Drift comes back into the open source framework, and together we grow. But NAP is not Drift, but we're like closely aligned somehow. So yeah, let me tell you a little bit about NAP Labs and what we do. We improve the interaction between humans, machines, and their environment, and we do it completely using our own technologies. And the only dependence that we have are on open source libraries, and they're included in the framework. So we don't own the stack, but the stack is completely transparent. And I think that is really important to emphasize. And I really draw a lot of inspiration also from a term that I learned 2 weeks ago, which is perma-computing. And I think it really hits home, like the way, permaculture is another way to treat the soil for agriculture, and the same way goes for permacomputing. Like in software development, we have been so used to work on higher abstractions that we kind of get lost actually how a computer works. Like a lot of programmers nowadays don't even really know how a computer works. They're just used to build on use abstractions. And it's also wasteful. We treat like the chips and the memory, which we are completely wasting a lot of resources. And I find that kind of disrespectful to the computer, actually. And this is really inspiring for me, and also something I would like to pursue, especially if we move into a world that's more unstable. We cannot rely on cloud or an endless stream of chips. Maybe you should just use the computer that you have lying around for the last 10 years. So yeah, we at NAP, we really believe in the following values. Like we really value open source development. I really think the open source model is something that keeps me a bit sane in this world. We really like community driven development. So there are a lot of programmers that have different merits that bring in their different skills. And together we build something that's bigger than us, which is NAP. We really believe also in the freedom to learn, to develop, but also the freedom to share. And that's something that a lot of the ecosystems are permitting. That's also why we ditched Apple, because they make it so hard to just make a piece of software and give it to somebody else. And for me, that's a really basic thing about working with computers, is I can make something and give it to you. But nowadays, the platforms, they're almost not allowing you to do it. So yeah, we value transparency, but we also very the meritocracy, which means that when people from outside look at us or see us talking, that why are you guys fighting all the time? Yeah, we're not fighting. We're talking about code, and we really care about the technology. And sometimes it gets a little bit heated. So it's not and we judge what comes in on its merit. So code wins the argument, not who has the most money or the best project or whatever. So yeah, this is the core team. This is the four of us, which is Koen, Leslie, Stijn, and me. And we all come from different backgrounds, but we all share roots in the free party scene, music and arts. So even though we're really technical, we all share something in the arts or something in organizing. And so, but we have programmers coming from guerrilla game studios, from the audio world. So it's a mixed bag, but it's a fun team. And this is a bit of our ecosystem. So we all work on NAP, which is bigger than all of us. We have NAP Labs, which is the foundation that we started, which means doing talks like this. We have artists like Helene. Thank you, Helene. Hi, Helene. That we work with. And we have the 4D Sound, who made a specialized audio engine completely on NAP. I think they also have the Spatial Sound Institute in Budapest. And I work at Drift, and all these different parties, they contribute in some way to NAP. So what do we do with NAP? Well, we use it to automate shopping malls, drive thousands of LEDs, control swarming robots, render beautiful installations, lasers, kinetic sculptures, multi-channel audio, whatever. So let me take a sip of water. So this is NAP. This is one of the demos that comes if you clone the repository. And where would you place NUP? Well, a lot of you are probably familiar with Touch Designer or like visual programming languages, or game engines like Unity and Unreal, or are familiar with open source frameworks like Open Frameworks or Cinder. And we sit kind of in the middle of all of them. So it's a combination of all of them. And why do we use NUP? Well, we use it because it's really fast. It's free, so it's I don't have to pay anything, and it scales extremely well. So we can target like really heavy render beasts, but we can also just almost go to the microcontroller level. It's completely cross-platform, although we don't support Apple anymore, but that's due to Apple. It's very light, energy efficient, easy to extend. It's completely data-driven, and I'm not gonna go into that too much because it's a pretty technical story. But the main thing is that it has no predefined pipelines. So if you would use a game engine like Unity or Unreal, you would probably be stuck with certain pipelines, render pipelines. And with us, with NUP, it's possible to create applications without any rendering if you would like to. So this is also one of our goals, is just growing smaller. So instead of just targeting higher devices, we are actually like to go more efficient and target smaller machines. That's something I really like. So what is in NUP is it has the Vulkan render backend, which is actually quite cool. We are even featured on the Kronos website. I don't know if you know Kronos Group, but that's like a consortium of Intel and NVIDIA. It has Vulkan GPU compute. We have an application editor, Napkin, which artists can use to like customize their application. We have a web portal. We have a completely sequencer, which is just completely output agnostic, so you can like sequence anything you want. Multi-channel audio engine, many protocols, well, you name it. So this is my sales pitch, although you still don't have to buy anything about the NUP. Let me tell you about some of the projects that we do, and I see that I have still 7 minutes left. So this is the most recent project that I built for Drift, which is where we wanted to have like a drone swarming performance, but with real-time interaction. So we all know the beautiful pre-programmed swarming drone shows, but this one we wanted to have real-time interaction with audience, and like that they would actually engage with robots in the field. So let me show you the video. I hope the audio works for you guys. Well. Sorry, yeah. This is the. So yeah, this is what's in. We build an application that controls like 100 robots in real time at 100 hertz. We built an open source NUP module that talks with the OptiTrack, which is responsible for the tracking. We built a choreography API. This allowed like artists to create different swarming behaviors, and we created a custom protocol to control all the robots, which is really a low latency protocol. And also the application has a pre-visualization of the choreography. So if you want to make a choreography, you don't really have to have all the robots there, but you can just make it, I don't know, in your while you're on travel, and then test it out. And for the museum, it has a web portal which allows them to control the different behaviors, inspect different robots, and whatever. And the application runs extremely fast on a tiny Intel NUC. So I can, if somebody would say like, oh, now we want to have 5 or 1,000 robots, I would be like, sure, no problem. And I think that that's really cool. Uh, so this is one of the robots that we kind of reverse engineers from the DJI robots. It's just a small ESP32 microcontroller which drives the omnidirectional wheels. But this is really simple chassis, so to say. And this is another video of the installation where we're building it with NAP, also some shots of NAP. Okay, 1, 2, 3. They're so fast now.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, and stop. And stop. So yes, so much about Murmuring Minds. This is another example that I want to show that we recently built for Drift. It's nice because it's really a visual work. It's actually a simulation of 60,000 starlings together with atmospheric scattering. So those who are not familiar with atmospheric scattering is basically the breaking of the light into a planetary atmosphere. And those two combined create kind of a like weird artificial, though still a natural feeling. So let's see if I can get the video started.
You can move. Miro. Not sure if you're seen there.
So yes, for this installation we used Vulkan GPU compute shaders to like simulate all of the behavior of all the blocks or the starlings, so to say. There's the atmospheric scattering, and we developed for the interaction. We developed a module for NAP which makes use of the Intel RealSense cameras. We also integrated OpenCV, which is also open source. Our OpenCV module is also open source. So yeah, and then I have 1 more minute left, and then I rush to the next project, which is Time Scholar, which is I wanted to show it because it's a nice comparison with the other, with Coded Nature, for example, which is a huge installation, and this is just a very small product. It's basically a clock that we made together with the artist Sigrid Kalon. It's a clock that you can buy, yeah, let me show you a video. Yeah, and so it's a little artwork that you can buy and take home. And the nice thing about it is that it also shows the passing of time in colors and in shapes. The nice thing about this is also that we kind of explored a new business model where we work together with artists and we like evenly split like the revenue. So a lot of times we get hired to make something, and then somebody else makes a lot of money. But here we really wanted to have an even share with the artist. It's complete. It's open design. You can repair it easily, and each instant has a unique color scheme. So if you buy one, it's completely custom and unique for you. So this is the one thing that I'm selling, actually. Although I think they're sold out and you cannot buy them anymore. But I'm not showing this to sell the clock. It's just a nice example of the things you can also make with NAP. So I think this concludes my presentation. I have one more slide, which is clone away. This is the repository of NAP. You're welcome to join, clone it, try it out for yourself. If you're like a medium, average, or a good programmer, seasoned programmer, I think it's really interesting for you. If you're just starting with programming, I think it's hard. Yeah, I don't want to discourage you, but it can be a little bit daunting. But feel free to clone and try to make something. That's it. Somebody in the chat raised their hand. Oh. Yes. Yeah, it's really hard. I really cannot hear anything. I just heard some murmuring. I can hear you, Andrea, but I didn't hear the question. Yeah, it's just €1,000. That's no money, right? No, but they're like 50 pieces, so they're just 50 pieces, and that's the like, because each one is unique, so each has their own custom, and you can also cannot copy it. Like it's really like cryptographically protected. So, yeah, it's just an exploration of, okay, can we make art works with code and sell that as art? So it's also a little bit of the experiment for us. Like we're not making it to get rich or something.